Welcome to your board game news roundup from Roll for Crit for this, the week of February 26th, 2018. First off, we've got a little bit of a leftover announcement from Toy Fair that happened last week in New York City. The board game publisher Gale had some cool announcements. In addition to new expansions for their Doctor Who and Star Trek Ascendancy games, they also are showing off some brand new titles. First, a miniatures co-op game called Aliens, appropriately based on the film Aliens, as well as a mysterious Dungeons and Dragons game that they did not show at all because Wizards of the Coast has not allowed for that setting to be revealed yet. Whatever the setting is going to be, we're going to find out when the game is released in August, possibly beforehand, but until then, it's a secret.
I'm also curious because it's coming to August if part of the keep it secret is also like we'll announce it that it's existing here, but we'll really show it off at Gen Con.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't think it's a coincidence that Gen Con is in August. I think that's probably their plan to release it there. I mean, Aliens is a big deal because there aren't that many Aliens games. There's the Alien versus Predator, but this is a co-op. Marines versus the aliens, which I think is kind of more interesting, I guess. I like that it's a pure alien game and you don't have to deal with predators because I don't really care about Predator.
Hot off the heels of the recent release Duelosaur Island, Pandasaurus has announced Duelosaur Island. This is a two-player game based sort of very similar to Dinosaur Island. Same artwork, same idea, dinosaurs, but with two players, so it's more basing on playing cards, but comes with new dice. Another interesting thing is some of the components can be mixed with Dinosaur Island, allowing a lot of variability if you own both copies of the game. You actually haven't played Dinosaur Island, it's a real shame. Because everyone I've played it with so far has loved it. It actually has short, medium, and long, and I've actually been disappointed I chose the short.
Yeah, it's one that I'm eager to play. I really want to try it out. I'm very much interested in doing it. We should try to get that together in the near future. But it's cool. It sounds like this is all like kind of an expansion for that in a way, as well as its own standalone thing, which is nice. Plus, it's a lighter thing. It
also makes sense in some way because sometimes you do want a two-player version because sometimes you only have two people around. But this way, if that's more common for you, maybe you just get the two-player. But if you want either, you're going to get rewarded for getting both because it is like an expansion. So it might be a nice way to give more variability to players. Of course, I'm sure some people are saying it's just why didn't you just include it in the previous game? But nah. I think it's gonna. I'm very curious to see what it'll bring.
And it's got that some of that dice building. It sounds like that we liked in our games these days. Those dice engines and things.
Well, it has dinosaurs, so I'm already on board.
Yeah. FastCompany.com has named Cephalofair Games as number 10 on their list of the top 10 biggest innovators in the space of gaming for 2018. They cite Gloomhaven specifically as something that has bridged the gap, quote, between tabletop gaming and video games. Not really a direct quote, I paraphrased it, but that's essentially what they said. Number 1 on the list was Nintendo. Twitch was also on there, as well as a few others. But Cephalofair, of course, makes board games, so this is I think a pretty big deal that they're being recognized in a more technological space as one of the biggest innovators of the entire year, in the same list as someone like Nintendo. Considering how much wider reach someone like Nintendo has, a game like Gloomhaven is pretty niche, even for the hit that it is within our community.
Yeah, and I definitely feel, hopefully, if what is true, that it is bridging the board game gap, as they say, because I think there are plenty of more board games I can be like, I definitely can see if I put this in front of someone who plays video games more, they're going to be like, I like this.
Right. I'm a little curious, they have, of course, Gloomhaven, but Seventh Continent, I think, does very similar things, and they actually use the words "choose your own adventure" in their listing, and I think Seventh Continent does similar things. So I guess Gloomhaven does, have a bigger footprint, more recognition among the mainstream. But I don't know; it's hard for me to tell.
Well, it is a bigger box.
It's a bigger box, so they just noticed it more.
Arcane Wonders has announced a new game to be released in May called Senshi. In this game, you'll be playing as warrior monks training under a master in a temple. However, your master has gone ill, and only one person can ascend to the monkhood when he leaves. So in this quick game that should take about 15 minutes, you are going to be manipulating piles of tiles either on your score sheet, on your own little tile, or in the center. And by doing so, you're trying to get the right colors in the right place, and whoever has the biggest tiles becomes the master. The smallest is actually eliminated. It looks very interesting for a short game. I don't think we see those 15-minute games as much from like the bigger developers.
Yeah, it seemed like, based on the art style and the theme, and kind of the way the box looks too, like this will be a good companion to Onitama.
I was just
yeah, also from Arcane Wonders.
I know Onitama, I'm pretty sure, is part of their
Dice Tower Essentials. This is not.
Yeah,
no,
I did not see that.
Unless they add the branding to it later, I don't know, but I assume they would want to get that out there as soon as they could. But yeah, it seems like a fun little tile-getting game. It seems kind of cool. Newly available this week is Dawn of Rebellion, the newest source book for Fantasy Flight's Star Wars RPGs. This could be used whether you're playing with Age of Rebellion or any of the other Star Wars role-playing games in the Fantasy Flight line, and it is set in the time period of Rogue One and Rebels. We just had the X-Wing Rogue One sets announced last week, so we're continuing that train in this week's news roundup. Whether you are a player or a GM, you're going to have tools there, new species to use, new locations. They mentioned Alderaan, which I haven't watched Rebels, so I don't know how much they go to Alderaan, but I mean, I only know it as a bunch of space dust, so that's kind of cool to be able to go to Alderaan before it's too late. Sort of like going to Krypton, like pre-Superman or something like that. But yeah, that's available now. So if you like Star Wars role-playing games, check it out.
For all you Munchkin fans out there, the new Munchkin collectible card game is out now. You can buy the 2-player starter set or the packs. We actually previewed this at our multiple videos, actually. Many conventions, so you can check those out if you want to see what it looks like.
It's been somewhat of a long time coming. I'm really excited to see how it plays in once it's out there in the wild, and how people react to it and how well it does, because Munchkin's a big name, and CCGs are a big thing, and will the two coalesce in a way that people like? I don't know.
Wait till next week when we say the new ban list for the Munchkin collectible card game.
I'm looking forward to that. Some legal trouble and controversy in the board game world this week. Leader Games has officially canceled their production of the game Deep, which was scheduled to be released at some point undetermined in the near future. And there was a bit of a scuffle online. Leader Games also published the game Root, which had a successful Kickstarter game campaign recently and was received very well. Well, the designer of the game Deep, after this cancellation was announced, has kind of lashed out. He made some posts on Board Game Geek, which the Root designer also chimed in on, accusing them of stealing some of his ideas and purposefully canceling his game so that they could get Root out there. Both games, Root and Deep, are asymmetrical games where you have multiple factions that play in very different ways. Deep was a space-themed game, Root was not. So there's differences and similarities. You can go online and you can read. They posted all these design documents and diaries to kind of you can judge for yourself to see what you think, but certainly it sounds like there are unhappy parties on both sides. It's always a tricky thing with games because when it comes to the mechanics of things, what you can and cannot copyright and how similar or dissimilar games can be is very much kind of a gray area in a lot of times.
Didn't we just have that in the video game era with Elite Battle, I think it's Elite Battleground, the one with the throw 100 people into a place and last one standing is the winner?
Yeah.
Elite Battlegrounds.
PUBG.
PUBG, that was the reason. And Fortnite, those were the two. Because I know that was a whole fun controversy.
Yeah, and we've seen stuff like this in the board game world too. Remember the whole Hex versus Magic thing and some other issues.
Though this one is interesting because all those were two different companies yelling at each other.
Right.
And neither of them, I think, well, the Hex one did, but that was some pretty good evidence, I think, at least I would say. This is the same company.
And we know for a fact that, the creator of Root, did help out in some ways with Deep. You know, like they talked to each other about these games. They were very much working together. So it's definitely a little messier because of that. It sounds like, and from what I've read, and I'm not a part of this, so I really have no expert opinion. Don't listen to me. But I mean, I don't think they ripped off this game. I think they're similar because they just happened, you know, they were working on different games at the same time from the same company and they had similar interests. But I mean, I can totally understand why this other guy probably feels like a little slighted that his game didn't work and this one did go through successfully. It's a tough thing to deal with. Legally, though, I doubt that this guy's going to get any traction. And I can echo what I've seen a lot of other people say online, which is maybe this guy should just get a lawyer and then not post about it on Board Game Geek.
Well, I mean, I haven't read all this stuff, so I'm not sure. But just from what you're saying, he said he's not calling a lawsuit.
No, that is correct. He is not. At least not at this point.
He's not as much going for judicial justice as much as public justice?
Yeah, I think that is possibly a little bit of it. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, we have seen stuff with like Game Salute and their Kickstarters. There's been a bunch of issues there where reputations can be damaged by stuff like this. So
right, the whole Protoss, I think.
Protoss, yeah, the Alien v Predator thing. There's all that stuff.
EA, the biggest one, we saw them take a big hit because of public reputation. So.
Yeah, so you know, they're a smaller company. I don't know. We'll see if it affects their future campaigns, but like I said, you can go online, find these, and do a little of your own e-lawyering, armchair lawyering, decide for yourself what you think. Anyway, that is all our news for this week, the week of February 26th, 2018. This has been Roll for Crit. Make sure you like and subscribe, and leave your comments down below.
Before it's too late!